This program do not necessarily reflect or represent those of the owners, management, or advertisers of Pacific Telestations Inc. This message has been brought to you by the stations of KUAM.
You're watching Buzz with Jess Lujan.
Good evening, Guam. I'm Jess Lujan. Welcome to this edition of The Buzz. Exciting show again. This is part 2, episode 2, with our conversation with the mayor of Tinian, Joey St. Nicholas, as well as Tinian resident and now UOG student, Cal Sandbergen. And of course, we're talking about the Tinian's perspective of the EIS. Welcome back again, Mayor.
Good evening.
Cal, thank you again for joining me in the set. Mayor, you know, last week we opened up, of course, with episode 1 talking about, again, the sentiments over there. And basically, again, you had said that you want our sentiment. We're going to tell you this. One of the things that concerns you, you said back in World War II, of course, Tinian played a major role. Yes. And toxic waste contamination by the military has not been cleaned up yet at this point. And here we go. I'll read some of the things here. Sure. But first of all, about the toxic waste. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good to be back.
Toxic waste hasn't been cleaned. How much of the island is contaminated in your estimate at this point?
You know, I don't have an estimate. I just know that it's there. We pass by areas of contamination on a daily basis. Actually, if you go towards the bomb pits, there's actually a fenced-off area that nobody's allowed to go. That's full of unexploded ordinances. There's other areas like in the Pina area, and it's littered throughout Tinian, but most of it in the northern part. So, yeah, that is a concern with these proposed exercises, dropping of grenades and mortars. You know, what the extent of the cleanup will be after they're done. Obviously, it's been 70 years since the end of World War II.
Now, here's what is said, and again, this is within the EIS. The CNMI EIS reveals potentially hazardous training and construction activities, including aviation exercises using live munitions from machine guns and rockets, live fire vehicle mounted training, urban assault courses, amphibious landing, beach training, and much more. It also states that there will be impacts to public health and safety, including changes in water quality, and air quality, noise pollution, the exposure to hazardous materials, and waste. It also goes on to say that it describes how construction of an in-water amphibious landing ram will modify Tinian's seafloor, destroying the coral reef, and an essential habitat for bottom fish, crustaceans, coral reef ecosystems, and other sea life. Man, it's this is not you putting it together, right? It's their findings, right?
Exactly, exactly.
And so again, when you look at the ocean, how much? I mean, of course, over the years we've gotten away from our fishing that we have to fish or hunt for our food. You know, we buy it from the grocery store down the road, but they get it from somewhere, and so that's what we've done. But how much of this will really affect those again who continue that livelihood? You know, mostly in
you'd be surprised. A lot of our people in Tinian still, you know, use fishing as a main way of providing, you know, food on the table. The Tinian dynasty buys up most of the catch, and then whatever's left over, the local catch, and then whatever's left over, you know, they bring it home. Some of them actually sell to other residents, but fishing is a very important part of our way of life on Tinian. Now, I'm not a fisherman, but boy, if I wanted some good reef fish or wanted some bottom fish, I know exactly where to go. My next door neighbor, you know. Yeah. So it's very important to know. I mean, that it's coming from the draft EIS. That ecosystem will be negatively impacted in that way. I mean, basically, you're going to build a ramp over, you know, what's presently our invasion beach with the rock and the coral and stuff. That's alarming to most of us because that is how we put food on the table. That not just, I mean, literally putting the fish on the table, but you go, you sell it, you make a living, and then you go to the store and buy.
Now, let me ask you. Cal, jump in anytime here. You know, let me ask you this, because you have a casino over there, right?
We do.
The Tinian Casino, the Dynasty, right?
That's right.
Dynasty, yeah. How would this impact that? Have you communicated with them, and how this, you know, I mean, during the exercise, bombings, although there be control places, and like you say, you can hear it from your homes, you can hear it from the schools. You must be able to hear it from the Dynasty Hotel
That's
as
right,
well.
that's
yeah.
right.
So how would would tourists want to come to a live fire destination? I mean, again, they're controlled areas, but even in controlled drone strikes, we still sometimes make mistakes, right?
Well, that's exactly my point in our last episode. I mean, it's going to affect our economy. The three big companies there are Bridge Investment Group. They're slated to construct in the next 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
The Ultra City Group, which I guess in the next 4 or 5 years, and then of course the Tinian Dynasty. All three of them oppose. All three believe that they cannot coexist with this type of exercise on Tinian.
So if the military would continue this, then you've lost that.
Yes.
You've lost that
exactly.
side. The companies are not going to come in.
Exactly.
And seeing how as tourism is one of the main staples of our economy, that would negatively affect Tinian forever. And how, Mayor, do you balance then? Is this because your job is to balance?
That's right.
The coexistence, right? With this, how do you balance? Because when you don't have growth, right? You don't have that growth in that side. You say these companies already said we can't coexist. There's no way they're going to come in. But you're going to have a military growth. You'll have some financial rewards of that. So how do you balance that one versus the other and continue that? Because you're losing this if over the years you guys have worked hard to become that destination.
Yes.
You've done that. You'll no longer be that destination per se. And will people again want, even if you're that destination and there's coexistence, would people want to do it?
Exactly.
And at this point, because you can have tourists from, you're a little. I mean, I think your immigration is a little different from us. You have,
No, it's exactly the same now.
Okay,
yes,
okay.
Yes.
But would they? Would the military have greater control again in who you bring in and where they come from, in regards to, training that they may have there, military training that?
Well, okay. There's 2 ways to get to Tinian, either
Okay.
through the airport or through the seaport.
Yeah.
There will be an effect on, or an impact on who comes in, because once they're having live fire practice, basically that airspace that they require will not
There'll be a
cannot
no-fly
be
zone,
used.
right?
There'll be no fly. So we would like to have charter flights from China and all throughout Asia to come directly to the island of Tinian. But because of these exercises, that would be limited. Okay, and just talking just strictly about the economy, Senator. If you want to look at the balance here, okay, we have right now at the Tinian Dynasty Hotel and Casino about, I'd say, 900 employees. Let's bring it down to 500. Okay, they employ 500 people on the island of Tinian. If this kind of live fire training happens and it affects the tourism that comes in, you can imagine they could decide not to continue their business because the tourists aren't coming in. And most of these tourists come in because of the beauty of our islands. The Ultra City Group has plans of building not just a casino and a hotel, but even some condos and even villas. And they propose to hire tons of people. I mean, for such a small population, I would imagine that they could take up all of the unemployment in Tinian if they're in full operation. And then you have the Bridge Investment Group development. So, I mean, there's so much potential, economic growth, like you said, development for Tinian that could be really just squandered if this type of development comes in. Granted, there's federal funds that are probably going to come in for whatever soft base or facilities that they would require. I know for the divert airfield, there's already been a congressional appropriation. And there's potential for employment. I think they peg it at 95 in the draft GIS. I don't know how much would be on island, but that's still development nonetheless. So when you're talking about balancing here, you have the potential for 1,000 people getting employed, whether it be from within or without Tinian, and then you have this other potential for economic growth, which is the military spending, and of course outside the fence type of benefits. So Of course, I would love to see
Sure.
that there be a balance, but this live fire training aspect does not blend in
Sure.
with what we in Tinian like to promote as the ultimate destination,
Yeah.
casino or otherwise.
It doesn't sound like you can mix it. It's kind of like water and oil.
Right.
They
So-
don't
yeah,
mix
very similar.
yeah. I got to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to ask you because